Welcome to another episode of Raving and Reviewing. My name is R, and this is my co-host V.
Hey guys.
Today, we are very excited because we
Very.
are reviewing WandaVision Episode 4.
Woohoo.
We interrupt this program,
And I
and it
love
was
that
great.
title. That title is so perfect.
I mean, I've been loving it so far, but I think it just got even better. It just like stepped up to another level.
Yeah, I think with the third episode we talked a little bit about like the sitcom, and it's like, okay, I think when especially then we started getting on the internet and reading some of the reviews, and we realized that people were getting kind of tired of the sitcom, and WandaVision wasn't doing as big as other MCU ventures, because I think people were like, ugh, the sitcom thing is kind of boring. But not with this episode.
No, I personally like the sitcom part,
Me
but
too.
seeing this was like, okay, we're finally getting into like the real like reason of the show, like what's actually going on here.
Yes, it's now gonna be or at least this episode explain more of like the bigger arc of the show, the bigger story.
Yeah,
And I think like we were saying before, like we didn't mind the sitcoms, right? We kind of liked the fact that Marvel was doing something different, but I don't think that was working to catch audiences. Or it's also because, and this is my guess because this is how I actually initially wanted to watch the show. I wanted to wait till everything was released and then just binge it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe that's what people are doing. Maybe some people are disappointed because it's not the typical Marvel show, but I think this episode proved that it can do both.
No, I've seen online a few people that were like, oh, this sitcom stuff is boring,
Mm-hmm.
and then this episode they like were like, never mind, this is great.
Yeah. So I've been we created our Instagram page, so I've been kind of interacting with a lot of these fan pages, and that's exactly what I've been seeing. I've been seeing a lot of this episode was good. They were reeled back in.
And like this episode, I'm thinking like they filmed this show really cheap because like this episode they didn't really have new scenes from Wanda or Vision. It was kind of just like the outside world, and it's
Hmm.
just like it was very reminiscent of Thor 1, like this whole like,
Which I did not watch.
yeah, I mean, but like everything about it was like the shield when they first find Thor's hammer and they're all
Yeah.
around like this. I guess Thor's hammer was like an asteroid kind of destroyed the
Yes,
earth, and they
and
built like
Natalie
a whole
Portman's
camp around it.
Jane is the
Jane,
one who's researching it, right?
yeah,
With
and
that
like
other guy.
they brought in, well, Eric Selvig was there. He's not in this, but they have
Yep.
Darcy Lewis, which
Darcy
is I
Lewis.
guess
Yep.
Kat
The intern.
Dennings, and like at that time she was so like kind of annoying actually. But she was like the clueless intern or assistant to Jane Foster,
Yeah.
who was the actual astrophysicist. And now, like post blip, I don't know what Thor was, what 2012 maybe
Yeah.
2010 maybe, I don't know what timeline they're using. Was it 2012 2011 when it came out?
Yeah.
And then now 10 years, it's 2023 present day.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, so 10 years later, she actually became a doctor and is an astrophysicist.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. True. But I think when we're watching, because from what I know, I didn't watch the movie, but I remember her. She was just kind of doing this as like a intern extra
Yeah.
credit kind of thing, and
Hmm.
it seemed like she really got into it, and she's good. I mean, she was basically she drove the story in this whole episode. Like she was the
Yeah.
one pushing the narration forward in the whole story.
Hmm.
And everything she did led to us discovering things about Wanda, about Vision, and about the world that now we know. Spoiler: Wanda is created, most likely, right? There was a
Yeah.
lot of hints that Wanda definitely is the one creating it.
Yeah. And then our other co-star for the episode, Jim Halpert.
Asian Jim Halpert.
Yeah.
So he was the FBI agent in Ant-Man.
Jimmy
Correct.
Woo.
Yes, that's right.
So my favorite thing, I think, I actually didn't see it myself when I watched, but I saw it on the internet later, was the card trick. Did you see that?
Card trick. When?
So when Monica Rambeau first drives up to Westview and he's waiting there with the police officers with the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then he turns around and he's like, "Oh, Jimmy Woo, FBI," and he does like a little card trick where he's showing his
His badge.
business card,
Oh, his business card. Okay.
He shows her the business card. He pulls it out,
Uh-huh.
and it's a reference to when Ant-Man 2, I guess Paul Rudd's character, Ant-Man, is like stuck in the
Oh,
house
right. He
and he
does the
disappears,
magic.
and then he's learning magic at home. He's not actually doing anything. And they're
Oh.
investigating his house, and then he's doing card tricks. And then Jimmy Woo goes up to him and he's like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And he's like, "I didn't do it. I'm not sneaking around outside." And he's like, "No, I mean the card trick." And then
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh, he finally learned it. I'm so
yeah,
happy.
that was like such a cool small callback, and it's like
Wow. See, this is
the
why
MCU.
Marvel. It's this is why it's good though. All the little Easter eggs are so much fun. Like I didn't know that, but that's so freaking cool that they bought that back. I remember him asking about the card trick because they're watching him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
All of Ant-Man.
like if I didn't look at the cast before, there was no idea I would expect Jimmy Woo to come back for this.
Yeah, Timothy Woo's back. What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good in here too. I mean, I think he was more comic relief than actually like a driver in the story, like Darcy was, and Darcy was
Yeah.
funny in this too. But
Hmm.
I always like my theory was always like if Marvel tries to do their funnies, which is what I call
Yeah.
anytime they kind of take a break from the seriousness of a story, which is like every other scene they'll have someone being funny.
Hmm.
It only works in a theater like ambiance because everyone else, because their humor is not like top grade humor in my opinion, and I know people could disagree, but I always think they kind of like have like the silly funny kind of thing going on, and it always makes me laugh, don't get me wrong, but I always think that a part of it is because you're watching it with the big audience, you find it funny. But then with this episode they had these little jabs and just little bits of comedy in there that actually genuinely made me giggle, and I had nothing to do with like a theater audience around me. It was just me watching it alone in my living room. I thought there were little things they were doing that were kind of funny.
I mean, I kind of disagree. I mean, I don't think you need an audience to laugh at like things
No,
they've done in
I
the past. Like,
no,
I
my
mean,
theory
Ant-Man
was
is clearly like a funny
that's a
movie.
funny, yeah.
Guardians is a funny movie, but like Avengers Infinity War, when Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Iron Man are together, like that's just hilarious. Like he's like, "What leader do you serve?" And he's like, "What do you mean, Jesus?" And it's like that's a great line. They do it all the time. I don't think
Yeah.
it's like
I think some movies are like I think Thor, anytime I watched that, it didn't matter because when we went to go see
no
Thor,
Ragnarok. Ragnarok was
Ragnarok,
great.
Ragnarok, we didn't go to a full theater because we went a week or two after.
No, I think we went the day of, but afternoon show.
Yes, it was because I remember it being
Like
super
the
dead.
release day, but we saw it like this 5 o'clock show or 4 o'clock show
Yeah, and that was
early.
funny. But I always thought like certain movies, like I feel like maybe I don't know, like some of the movies are not
Doctor
as
Strange,
Doctor Strange wasn't really
it's
super
mostly
funny.
serious, but he tried, I guess,
He
but he
did.
didn't pull off real jokes like well in that specific.
Yeah, but I think this episode I kind of take all of that back because I think they had two people like Kat Dennings. Obviously, she's done sitcoms and she's got a
Well, like the
really
thing
good
is, like her jokes in Thor 1 and 2 did not really work.
land. Okay.
Here, I think they fixed her character and made her actually the smart person out of
So
the
it
group.
works
Before
better.
she was the dumb person of the
hmm
group, like of Jane and Eric Selvig. Like she was like the dummy character, I guess. I don't know.
hmm
And this one, it's like I didn't actually like that scene where like she's in the truck and then like there's like those 3 other people and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And the guy's like, "I don't think we should be talking." And then they other 2 people talk and then she's like, "Oh, I'm an engineer and this and that," and she's like,
I'm
"I
an
don't care."
astrophysicist. Yeah.
And it's like, did we need that
I
fuss? I mean, it was cool to see like they brought her back, but
yeah.
like I didn't care for that. And it's like, what did those other 3 people bring to
I
this?
think it
Was that
was
like they're not relevant? Just I guess it was just showing you like they don't know what's going on, so they're bringing people from 4 different sides of science.
yeah, and I think it was also like an avenue to let us know that she actually followed through and is now working in this field. I think this
Yeah,
was like a way for the story to kind of tell us. It might have not done that have been done so cleanly, but I think that was the purpose of that scene. Those 3 other people or 4 other people really didn't matter. It was more so that the audience knew that this character that you've seen before in the MCU has now a completely different arc, and now she is the smartest in the room or the smarter one in the room
yeah,
than
yeah.
before,
And
right? I
then
think
the
that was the
other
point.
thing I thought was weird was the agent. I think his name is Tyler Hayward.
hmm
he, I guess, first when you see Monica Rambeau come back to Sword, and he greets her, and then later on he's working with Jimmy Woo to get the signal and this and that. Like he just seemed like such a generic.
Sketchy. Oh.
Is he going to be a bad guy? Maybe, I don't know. He seemed generic.
He's
just
one of
like,
those people
it didn't
to
work
me.
for me.
It's one of those people to me that he's too nice, and I know there's something like he's gonna come back. He's either gonna die. That's my theory. It's like I always have, you're either gonna be evil or you're gonna die. If someone is too nice in anything, that's like my theory. I'm like, you're either gonna die or you're gonna be evil.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the two. I mean they didn't bring him in for no reason then like bring attention to his name at first. I mean I did forget it. I had to look it up, but he was relevant. Why not just make Jimmy Woo in charge of this or something?
Yeah.
Like there is something with Sword that's fishy going on with that guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the thing with MCU is like you don't know if he'll be important in this story or going forward he'll be important. So like it might still be like a long game to figure out what that character is. Not that I really care too much. Like I paid very like minimal attention to him. Like I recognize him and I know his name and I know he's someone that Monica kind of looks up to, it seems like, from what they described.
She was like,
you look old as hell.
He looked confused somewhat when she first saw him.
Yeah.
And then something I saw online, I mean, it's, I don't know if it's spoiler, but maybe like something teaser. So like there's another character named Ryan Hayward that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they're saying maybe that's his brother, somewhat related.
So
could
maybe
be something
someone important. Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen
Agents.
that, so I can't say, but
yeah. Okay, that'll be interesting. I guess
they haven't been really. They've been tying some small Shield references, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show references into this, like the Hydra soak.
Yeah.
That was also like I guess Phil Coulson referenced something about brainwashing Hydra brainwashing people using some kind of weird substance, and that was where it's related.
So I wonder if that's what Wanda is using on the town.
I think Wanda's just using her powers.
I think so too. I think she is that powerful.
What did you think about the two police officers that when Jimmy Woo first comes there and he's like, "Oh, explain to Monica what's going on here."
Oh,
and
about
like, there's no Westview.
Yeah.
And then there's a sign clearly right there.
Yeah, that's definitely Wanda's telekinesis.
Yeah, they're under their control.
Hypnosis powers that are coming out now. Yeah, they're definitely under mind control.
But didn't they just drive right through?
I can't.
Or did they turn? I think they turned around. Maybe
they went the other way. I don't think they went that direction.
I think they did a disservice to us of like having Jimmy Woo at least try to put his hand through, because they did it so like Monica's like, I don't believe you about this thing. Yeah. And she brought the helicopter that episode 2
that ties up. Yeah. So in episode 2, we saw the helicopter that I think your theory was that it might have been a big helicopter that shrunk, but it looks like it was the same size.
Yeah, it's just a drone.
It's just a drone. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I think they're obviously trying to make sure that we recognize that Monica is going to be one of the bigger characters in this.
No, I just wish like they would have let Jimmy touch the force field or something. Like he just kind of stood there, and then 1 second later, she just walks towards it and is like absorbed it.
He's just
but
like,
he's just like, he just says, "Oh, it doesn't want me to be here," and it's like
he just kind of stood there. I didn't even recognize. But I was confused. He was just kind of screaming her name, and I'm like, "Are you gonna do anything about?"
Yeah, are you gonna walk any closer and like it stops you from going through? Because the helicopter went through and she went through. What's stopping something else from going through?
I think he didn't want to, though. I think he recognized.
He's afraid.
Not so suspicious. Not so much that he's afraid, but I think just from like a story point of view, I think someone needs to be in the outside world to describe what happened to Monica. A and B, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's a storytelling thing, not.
Yeah, that from the story and from his character point of view too. I think he already saw someone else disappeared and didn't know where she went. Why would he go through the same thing?
Yeah,
like she, from his perspective, maybe she just put her arm and got sucked in all the way. So why even try? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's my guess on that one. What did you think about the beginning of this episode?
It's the best part.
The best thing. I was kind of missing out a little, and I had to rewind because I'm like, what's going on? And then I recognized, oh, she's coming back from the snap. So
Yeah,
in the
so I
beginning,
I
it's
thought something
mayhem.
I didn't like. I mean, I rewatched that part too as well, and I
Mhm.
was like, first 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, she's a shapeshifter or something,
Yeah,
because you see her like her forming, and I'm
she's
like,
coming back.
and then she's running to the hospital. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah,
this is the blip. This is connecting back to like
yeah,
2023,
right.
and I was like, oh, this is I guess Hulk just snapped them,
Yep.
and we don't really
Iron Man snapped
see
him back.
that.
But
No, Iron Man just snaps Thanos back, I guess.
I mean,
Uh,
who does it? Hulk does it.
Hulk
Hulk does it.
brings,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I was like confused about that too. I was like, what was the timeline? So Hulk brings everyone
Hulk
back,
brings them back. Yep.
and then Iron Man just,
Snaps away
I guess,
Thanos.
snaps away,
Yeah.
yeah, snaps away Thanos and the bad guys. It's strange.
Yeah.
No, but
We
like
we
that,
don't know
I
how
guess
the
something
powers
like
work.
we haven't seen anything other than in Spider-Man. They make a joke about the situation. Oh, the blip, the
Yeah.
school. I guess the newsroom was like, that's what they're calling it, and it's a
That's what
funny little thing.
and it from that school apparently is because they did mention the blip in this, right?
Yeah,
It was
I think Darcy said it.
it's officially called the blip now, even though like
No,
we were first introduced of that name through like a newsroom show at Spider-Man's high school, which is kind of funny.
yeah, I mean, and it's like the perfect name for it because it's like
I
kind of
like
a
it.
joke, but
Yeah.
it's super serious. And
It
now we're seeing
fits.
the serious side effects of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And I think I love that it's actually like affects the world a bit more. Like it has consequences. Like it's
It's
not just like
rippling.
something happened and then all right, we're gonna move on to phase four, something
Mm-mm.
completely new.
Mm-mm. It's
It's gonna have consequences through the next few movies.
Yes, it's rippling through all of the MCU and everything they've planned, which is good. I like that. I think there's going to be a timeline on this too. Just
Hmm.
because the storyline can get super confusing, like who survived the blip, who didn't, who came back, who didn't. I think that's going to get
Yeah.
a little hard to keep track of, and I think because of that, they might have to eventually give up on any storylines with this.
I was like,
But
how many storylines can they do with
they could
this
do
though?
so much with it.
No, but should they keep doing
No,
this?
because it's going to
No.
get way too confusing for them and it's going to start ruining things. So I think it'd be better if I think yeah, maybe just putting your audiences through the next few like movies just
Hmm.
because we're getting introduced probably to new characters, new story arcs. I think it's a good idea because people are interested in this particular event because it was
Yeah.
so big in Infinity War.
Hmm.
So I think it is smart for the time being to use it, but I think eventually they might get a little too confusing. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's my
like
thought on that.
the thing I think of when I see this is like um Avengers 1, you have, I guess, Loki coming with the Chitauri army,
Mhm,
and then that's like later reflected in all the movies a little bit,
mhm,
mostly, but the major one is like Spider-Man Homecoming, where like the main villain gets his parts and powers from that
from
because
it.
he's the cleaning crew.
Mhm,
And it's like there was such a time gap between those two movies, I think, like
yeah.
3 or 4 years. And
Mhm,
it's like we're still referring back to that same thing. I
yeah.
like that this is just like the next big thing. It's like we're picking up and there's like I guess repercussions from
Elements.
this right away.
Yeah, elements of the old stories are still going to play out.
Mhm.
It's not a scratch from start, right? It's I like
Yeah.
that too. I think it's a clever idea for the time being. I just because I know how convoluted these time jumps and all that stuff. It's hard to keep track
Hmm.
of.
Yeah.
which which is why I'm like I think it's good to do it now as a plot device to keep the MCU going and make sure that
Yeah.
your core audience is still interested.
Hmm.
But I think eventually it is going to get a little convoluted and confusing. But hey, with MCU, you never know. They've surprised me in the past.
I
I,
mean,
I
they
know
made time travel believable and it worked. And you're not really. I mean,
almost
it's
believable.
almost. It's like good
There's one
enough
little.
that you're not questioning it.
I
Like
am.
it happened. I mean, it happened. I don't think they're gonna go visit it again. Like,
Listen, I was good with their timeline in Endgame up until the end of the movie. That my only I think they were fine with the way they described it with the Hulk
hmm,
and the
yeah,
way they did the stream of the time and that the way that was described was perfect. And then they had Captain America and then they just confused me and fried my brain. I couldn't
He
understand
had to
that
return
afterwards.
all the things.
Yeah, and then where did he go that he ended up becoming old? So were there like timelines with two caps at one point? Was this one cap just
So
sitting out?
what they're seeing, it kind of seems like he went back to the 40s and lived out his life with Peggy Carter.
Yeah, but then
And
throughout
then he
this,
did live out, it was the true ending of his story where Peggy Carter had a husband who was Captain America, but he was a hidden name.
oh,
And then
nobody
like
knew.
at the
Yeah.
and Captain America
So
3
there were
at the
two
funeral,
caps.
there is like an old guy that's him. I mean, was this written at the time to plan for those things? Who
Could be with
knows?
the MCU. I still wasn't a fan of that. I think I don't know. I'm also not a huge Captain America fan, so I guess I'm a little biased. I
I mean, you
can't
should
be
be glad
trusted.
now he's gone.
I mean, I didn't hate him that much. I have to hate him because my sister loves him. That's just the way things go in my family.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone now. All we have is Thor.
And I also didn't like him in Civil War. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're Team Iron Man.
Yeah, Team Iron Man all the way in that. I was like on the post where someone posted just real quick. Someone posted like how most of Team Iron Man's like people are dead, while everyone in Captain America's team pretty much are okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's because Iron Man's team literally sacrificed. Like Iron Man literally sacrificed so Captain
Who's
America
dead
could
from
go.
Iron Man's side?
I forget who it was. I think they had T'Challa in there.
Well,
Like
that's different. Like he's a lot. I mean, he physically died in real life, the
yeah, I
actor.
know.
And they're not going to recast him, and that sucks.
Yeah.
Like he was such a good actor, and he
Well,
pulled
yeah.
off that role so well.
Yeah.
And they said that they are not going to recast him.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's a good move on their part. I think just out of respect from him and his
But
family.
it sucks.
And
It ruins that whole story and that whole situation.
I think.
I mean, there
they'll
was
figure
no
out a
real
way.
like at the end of the movie. There was no like they can go anywhere. It's kind of open.
Yeah.
And it's like, will they just make the sister now more important?
That might be it. And I hope the general is in it
Oh yeah,
more.
she was
I really
great.
liked her. I loved her. She was my favorite character in Black Panther. She was so awesome.
Yeah, she was the best one.
Yeah.
I forget her name, but she's Michonne in
Walking Dead, yeah.
She takes her wig off.
Oh, that's my favorite scene. That's so good. Just like blinding someone with a wig. That's awesome. Yeah, so but going back to this episode as well. Now it seems like a lot of our theories are kind of true, right? Like it
Vision
seems
is
like
dead.
yeah. We have a conflicting take on that one, right? You think that what it's his body?
I think she's animated him.
She's animated him. Yeah.
She's using her magic. I mean, it's clear what they're saying now. There's 3,000 people in this town that are being mind controlled.
Yeah.
And we haven't mentioned this yet, but like they, I guess, are trying to find now. The Sword is looking into tracking down. We're watching these episodes as you guys are.
Yeah.
They're seeing different things than we are a bit. I mean, it seems like they have more episodes they're watching per thing in the background. It's not just like the 20 minutes we saw. It's like they're seeing other scenes and they're looking at the side characters and who's Mr. Hart, Mrs. Hart, who's the guy in Vision's office. They're tracking them down, finding their licenses, putting it up. But they didn't find Agnes's any information.
Oh, you saw that little thing where they didn't have her thing on the I saw that actually
from the trailer before the episode. I saw there was like a little preview and then everyone pointed out it's like Agnes is the only one without her license.
Yeah. I saw that on Instagram too. I was a little disappointed because I was like I wanted to like just watch without, but I've been on Instagram
yeah, I had
so
to watch
much.
that trailer. Yeah, I had
yeah.
to see that.
I tried not watching the trailer because as soon as I saw a little bit of it, I was like, "Oh my god, this episode's just going to be revealing everything." So I just I try to skip past it, but it's really hard.
This is, I think, the first time they had a trailer before the episode.
Yeah.
I don't think they've
had it in color. No.
Why? Well, I just didn't watch it then.
Okay. I don't know. I just assumed.
I would rather stay away.
Yeah, me too. But my theory with that. So one of the other people I was talking to on this, they were saying that maybe Wanda's puppeteering his dead body around, which
that's exactly what I mean. I mean, that's what she's doing.
I don't know. I don't think so.
But her world broke a bit. She threw Monica out of the world. That's what we saw last episode.
Yeah, I saw the little part where you see his face.
Her world broke, and then you see his dead body, like his
She
his
sees his
mind
dead
stuff.
body.
Yeah,
She
so
sees it.
she's seeing like her fictional world being broken.
I don't know. I'm like I'm still thinking that maybe it's I don't want to let go of my theory that it's someone else. But I was like maybe because like that was how she last saw him.
Mm-hmm.
It because every like her world broke for that time being, maybe like I don't know. Maybe when she saw him for that split second, she realized that, oh my god, this is not the way Vision is anymore. Like
Yeah. Okay.
he's dead. He's no longer that red, um, alive Vision that she sees in her 70s sitcom. And just for a second in her head, she saw that it was,
This is the
was
reality
this
of
is the
things.
reality. Yeah, but I don't know if she's puppeteering a dead
Well, I
body.
don't
It
think
could
it's
be.
puppeteering. What I'm trying to say, it's like she has a spell that just is onto this body and they
Hmm.
just act on their own. She's not physically, I guess, controlling them and knowing what they do. It's
Okay.
just it's what they did in Ultron. She put a spell into their head
Yeah.
where Iron Man is
Hmm.
thinking about there's aliens going to come invade. Thor thinks there's something going on in space.
Right.
Like that's
But
just she's put
would
a
that
little
work
spell on
on someone
everybody's.
that doesn't have a brain? Who's not alive? How
No,
would that
not
work?
really.
And how is he so animated? And so there, I'm not okay. I'm not completely
I mean, I would just
adverse.
go with it. That's something you just go with, and like for film or movies, TVs.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not
not
completely
questioning. I
adverse
mean,
to.
how does he work in general? Like, it's a synthesoid android made
True.
by a guy in like a week.
True. Okay, no, that's fair. But I'm not adverse to him being like her carrying around a puppet, a dead body.
Mhm.
I think there has to be some other element to it. I don't think it's just her power because what? How would that work? He has his own story arc that she's playing out. He's interacting with these other humans, and like I know these other humans are definitely under her hypnosis, right? That's now I think we're like 90% there.
I mean, I kind of picture it as like a video game almost. Like
Mm.
you control Wanda, and then everyone else is just doing what they're doing, and you can interact with Vision or you can interact with other people. But they have their own minds and all things going on.
But they also have moments of clarity, right? So like in the last episode, Agnes, right, when she's
Hmm.
looking at him, and even what was his name? Again, it's my turn to forget names today.
I
Um,
forget that guy's the
yeah,
neighbor who's cutting the
Hugh.
hedges.
Yes, him. They're interacting with him, right? Wouldn't you think they're seeing the dead body? Or you think Wanda has it so that they're all seeing Vision as this
They're all
colorful
seeing
being?
Vision as the
Yeah, okay.
a
Because I guess
human
she's
version. They
moving the
don't even see
timeline.
him as the android.
But then why does he change his
Yeah,
form?
that's just to be more himself.
Yeah, Vision's still a mystery to me. I'm not 100% sure on what that guy's story
One thing I
is.
really didn't like was the part when I guess the she's like who's Ultron or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
and then she blasts her through the wall,
yeah,
and it's like she literally blasts him through the front door,
yeah.
and then you see all the things break, and it's like literally Vision walks right past that. Doesn't he see that? You
Well,
know how she
she's
blasted him
controlling
through the
him.
front? I
She's
mean, maybe was he
controlling him.
turned around still for that 1 second?
Could be, could be.
I didn't like that. I was like, they should have blasted her out through the back door or something.
You're very picky in how to blast your Monicas. No, but I think I don't know. I have one more thing against why I think Vision might be some sentient alive being. Is that the right word? Sentient?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he is also not playing ball, right? Like just like these other people have their moments of clarity with
Hmm.
Kitty or Mrs. Hart, having her little breakdown when her husband's choking in the first episode,
Yeah.
to Agnes, and I think his name is Hubert. I'm gonna go with Hubert,
Yeah, go for that.
the guy cutting the hedges on practically his wall, um, and them having a conversation, and you can see that they're conflicting and kind of realizing that they're in Wanda's world and they're being controlled, or they're trying to make
But
Vision
I mean,
also.
what if
Vision's
she's
going
just
through
like
that
letting it
journey.
happen, let them appear for a second, and then she's gonna rewind and fix? whenever she needs to.
Right, I agree. But then Vision's going through that arc as well. If she's controlling him, why would he go through that arc?
Well, that's the thing Jimmy Woo is talking about.
Yeah.
Wanda, who
Who
is
is
doing this
this?
to you?
Yeah. Who is this? And who's yeah, I think the theory of yeah, maybe Wanda's controlling most of this universe,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe there is an external force along with it as well. At first, I think last time we talked, you were thinking maybe Sword, but it seems like Sword's the good guys, or not good
Other
guys,
than
but
the
there is
agent.
someone, yeah, other than him, yeah.
Well, I
But
mean, I think maybe there's another person also involved in
mhm,
making this world for Wanda.
agreed.
Um, but I mean, right now there's no real like clue in what's going on. We thought maybe there's something with the B guy, but the B guy turns out to be just
The
regular
Sword,
Sword agent.
yes. I did you
Then
like that scene at the end
no,
when he no?
no,
Yeah, I
I
was
didn't
gonna.
like it.
I think it was a little too confusing.
Well, what happens is he's going through,
The
and then
50s
he
or
comes
60s.
out, and then he warps through, and then like it's a jump rope. I like that. That was kind of
That was
cool.
cute. Yeah,
That's good.
I think the jump rope was a good visual cue to let us know what was going on. I didn't get the bees.
Well, the
I did.
bees is something, some kind of reference to some kind of aim,
Okay.
something in the comics from the past. I don't
Okay.
know, but there's some kind of bee suit villain with he wears this kind of outfit. Um, but what happens? She reverses time. It's like, does he come back or is he stuck in this world himself?
Yeah, it was not clarified if he's going to be one of her characters now or if
It
he's.
seems like she reversed him out the first time.
Yeah.
So was he freed back to the real world? Because that's what wasn't
Yeah, it's
shown.
still not. But listen, the show's not over, so there might be
No, no.
clarity in that. Yeah. So I mean, I didn't. I didn't think it was. I think they made a big deal of it in episode 2, and it
Mhm.
ended up being not as exciting when you found out what the actual
Yeah,
thing. That he
I
was
feel
just a
like I'm
sword
not
agent.
as excited. Like,
About him, yeah. It wasn't anything. I think they kind of played us with it being, oh, this is more interesting than we thought it was going to be. He wasn't anything that added to the story. I think that was the disappointment.
yeah, no, I mean it's like the weirdest thing ever. Beast guy in a beekeeper suit with hundreds of bees comes out of the sewer.
Hmm.
I don't know what you do that happened in real life. Like,
Yeah. Why didn't they do anything with it? Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they could later on. He could come back in the 80s now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
So
guess we'll
another
see.
so another thing was they're asking the same questions we're asking Jimmy Woo and Darcy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have their little whiteboard and they're writing notes, and it's like, what's with these hexagons? What do they mean?
Mm-hmm.
And why are they jumping 10-year decade sitcoms?
Yeah. Darcy made a really funny joke about that. She's like, can they just like stay in one decade just for my like like she was genuinely interested in the sitcom.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I agree that I like that part. They're asking the same questions as us.
Yes. They're the audience.
Yeah, they're the audience in this. And then, but now, like, what's next? Is it like they're just gonna try and invade this more? Like they're just gonna have more people go into this world? I guess I don't know.
Well,
Like
I
we
don't
didn't really get to talk to Monica yet. She
know.
just like you see her at the end, and she's like, okay, it is all Wanda.
So I think, and I think I texted you. I think there's 2 episodes that might not be sitcoms coming, but then I think I did the math wrong, right? Because
No,
we have,
it clearly is going to be a sitcom because the screen goes from widescreen back to the 4:3
yeah,
aspect ratio, and then Wanda says, I think, like, "Oh, back to our regular thing."
yeah, the regular viewing, yeah, yeah. I think, but there's room, right? Because we did what, the 70s. Then episode 4 was nothing, right? Then episode
Yeah.
5 will be 80s.
Hmm.
Episode 6 will be 90s. Episode 7 will be 200s, and 8 will be
2010.
yeah. So we have 1 episode left over.
I mean, you could have a later episode that's not like the last episode could be not. I'd say maybe 8 is like you figure
Yeah,
everything out, and
yeah,
then 9 is going to be like the
yeah,
one last like most recent
yeah.
timeline
Because there's 5 more
sitcom.
left, and we only have 4 more decades to go through, right? Did I do the math right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think next episode will
No,
definitely be a
that's
sitcom.
back to sitcom. Now we're back to sitcom for sure. which I know people were like meh on it, but I'm excited. I like it.
But I think it won't be the whole thing. It's be 50-50. Are they going to be interrupting their world more
I
often?
think so. I think that's what's going to end up happening too. I think they're going to start interrupting a lot more. I think eventually more sword members are going to be coming into the world and Wanda's going to catch on. And we started seeing that though in the beginning before this episode, right? Where we saw that more and more of the episode has had less and less of the sitcom. So that I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean the real world stuff is interesting.
Yeah. And then
now,
one last thing I also wanted to talk about is like, did you like the interaction between Darcy and Jimmy Woo? You think that's going to be like a key thing going forward? You think they're going to be the main guys kind of being more involved in Wanda's sitcom going forward? Or you think
yeah, I
it's
think
going to
they're
be
going to be
Monica?
in. Monica's going to go back into the world, I assume,
Mm-hmm.
and then Darcy and them will just be communicating as the tech people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I mean, I don't. Maybe they won't be in every episode, but
No.
I mean, you could honestly not have them. I wouldn't miss it. I don't know.
I don't know. I
You could
just
have anybody. Honestly, you could have
it
anybody
could be
there.
any
It's
no
not. That's the thing that like they're such side like CD level like Marvel
right,
characters that
but
I'm
that
like I don't not invested enough to say like I want them back.
I don't not because I like not because I dislike or like their characters, but just for like story purposes, right? Do you think they'll bring them back just to move forward with what's going on and like
Oh,
do you
they're gonna plot a way to I guess figure out how to communicate with Wanda. Like they started with the radio that
yeah.
was referenced episode 2. They're gonna have Darcy find more ways to communicate to this world.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I wanted to mention. They mention CMBR, which
Yeah.
is cosmic microwave background radiation.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only one to figure that out. And
Yeah.
that's something in Marvel that's supposed to relate to Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
And
Is that how they got their powers?
Well, it's radiation. I mean,
Yeah.
you can call it whatever you want to call it, but radiation. So seems like something with this force field. Is it Wanda's doing? Is it some kind of other radiation? And I see people online are freaking out like this thing when it explodes, this world is returned out. It's gonna maybe like launch into space, and then it's gonna affect like the Fantastic Four, and maybe this would be the reason why they actually are transformed.
Okay. I could see that. I could see Marvel planning ahead to that. I wouldn't put it past them.
Because they did announce that the Ant-Man director is going to be filming.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I didn't know those little tidbits, but that's gonna be interesting. All right. I haven't seen a good Fantastic Four movie ever, so that'd be interesting to see what MCU does with it.
I mean, the same guys who did Ant-Man. I don't mind. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Ant-Man's.
Well, he's got Ant-Man 3 to do, then Fantastic Four.
Right.
So he's got a long ways to go.
Who the director? You mean is gonna direct?
Yeah, I think.
Who's the director of Ant-Man? I actually don't know.
Peyton Reed? Maybe?
Okay.
I'm not sure. Not sure if that's the name.
Okay. And
But,
okay, I like Ant-Man. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Yes, you're right, Peyton Reed.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great job with both movies. They're both pretty unique.
Yeah. Good humor, good story. I was interested in both the storylines.
The first one's definitely, I think, better.
Yeah.
It was more of a heist movie. The second movie was Ghost and the Matrix guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the one I've only seen actually once, maybe.
Yeah. I've only seen it once, but I remember not being too crazy about the villain. So.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But I think it was more disappointing because we already seen Ant-Man go big in Civil War before this movie.
Yep.
And it kind of took away from the giant man. Like, he's done this already. He doesn't have a second trick.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as interesting.
They brought back the quantum
at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they revealed that and saved the wife. And
that's
what
right.
led to doing time travel. So it was a pretty important movie.
Yeah, it was. And in the end, that was important too, right? Because you see that he disappeared. Oh, no, that's actually an Infinity War in the other movies, right?
Well, the post-credit scene is him getting trapped in the quantum realm.
Right. But that wasn't Ant-Man, right? The
That
end
was, yeah,
of
that was a
Avengers?
post-credit scene.
Yeah, okay. Just doing a sanity check there. So many
I mean,
post-credit scenes.
there's like 25 movies, so they're like 2 hours each. So it's 50 hours of stuff. Plus now this, so it's another 6 hours.
There's a lot going on.
I'm loving this MCU Fridays.
Yeah, me too. I get excited for watching WandaVision every Friday.
We're gonna have it for almost the whole year.
Yeah, they have a lot of things planned, so I'm excited.
I think we're gonna have WandaVision up until March,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 weeks off. Then March 19th, Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Then Black Widow if it doesn't get delayed.
No,
Then
they want to
Loki.
release that in theaters, though, right?
Yeah, we'll rent the theater and watch it.
Yes, I will rent it for that. Even if it's bad, we gotta rent it.
I don't expect it to be bad.
I don't either. I think we'll be entertained either way. Even if it's not the greatest MCU movie, I think it'll still be interesting.
I'm interested. What's the post-credit scene? Where are we going from here?
Where else are we going? Yeah, true. All right, so that's all I had to add. Is there anything you wanted to add for this episode?
What are your predictions for next week?
Mm,
What sitcom are we gonna be
it's 80s, right?
referencing?
I'm hoping Cheers.
I think Full House. You gotta go Full House. They
You
have
think Full
kids,
House?
twin
Okay.
kids.
The twins,
I mean,
yeah. Full House doesn't have, well, they do have
No.
twins eventually.
you can maybe cast the same kid.
From Full House? Her
No,
sisters, you
no.
mean?
I mean, maybe they just show one kid at a time on screen.
I don't. Oh, you mean just have one kid play a twin?
Well, like how? No, it wouldn't work. I mean,
It wouldn't work. Like
in Full
Lindsay
House,
Lohan in
it's-
Parent Trap?
yeah, yeah, kind of.
It sounds less exciting now that you know it's been done in the 90s, doesn't it?
Well, it's been done in the 60s.
Oh, yeah, but they didn't do it with the cool technology that they did in the 90s, apparently.
No, I didn't see that original one.
Yeah. No, but I think it's gonna be either Cheers or Full House. Yeah, we looked those up last time, so Full House is definitely a candidate. I don't know. I think Full House. I don't know if I want that. But how would you do Cheers? That wouldn't work. She has 2 kids now, so
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other ones we're forgetting. That's the 2 big ones.
yeah. It's anyone's guess, but I think it's gonna be more sitcom for sure, and I do think that it's gonna be more interrupted than the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last 5 minutes is going to be some big like interruption or someone coming in. Or
do you think the episodes are gonna be longer?
no,
I hate that. It's too short. It's too short.
this episode when it ended, and then it goes to like a please stand by, like the screen.
Yeah.
And I waited. I was thinking like it would come back.
But it didn't.
It's like the credits are long. The credits are a good like 6 to 8 or 10 minutes.
4 to
maybe.
6 minutes, depending on how much visual effect is in the show in the episode.
And I was like, oh, because I guess it has like a pre-credits where it's like animated and like things are flying around and the screen, and then it goes to like a regular black screen where it's just like text. And like I expect something to come back after that, like the visual one, because that's what happens in the movies too. Like they have a cool super animated one, and then they have post credits, and then like the all black one. But it doesn't happen here, so it's always like, oh, I guess there's nothing.
It's a little bit of a disappointment, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a trailer, but I also like no. Let's not,
you wouldn't, but you wouldn't mind skipping the trailer because literally 20 minutes you're like, I don't want to watch any of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take anything right now.
I know. I think it's just because it's so short, and it's just like I didn't even finish my drink yet. How is this episode already done? It's kind of disappointing.
But I mean, it's good enough to rewatch it.
Yeah. I am not rewatching them, so I probably sound really stupid in these, but like I want to just binge them. So
no, I skipped through. I mean, maybe.
I think before the last episode, I'm just gonna sit and binge all of the episodes. It'll take me like probably 2 hours because they're so short.
I think it's gonna be a total of 6 hours.
Yes.
So how about we rent a movie theater and we watch all the episodes in theater?
They don't let you play what you want in these movie
But that's at
theaters.
AMC. I think you have to go into those like small
Private
theaters.
little, yeah.
Yeah,
There's none
private
around
ones.
my place. Is there one around yours?
If they didn't shut down in the
In COVID
pandemic,
times, yeah.
we could try. I mean,
Yeah.
we'd have to rent it for 6 hours.
I will. I do. You have anything to do?
No, not on Friday,
Not on
March,
Friday.
whatever that Friday, 1st March Friday.
There you go. So that's okay. Save the date.
Okay, we'll try to
That's what we're
watch
doing.
it in theaters.
It's your job to find a theater that's not super far for me and not super far for you.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll make it feel like it's normal or Marvel movie time.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen a movie in theaters in a very long time.
Yeah, since Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, we saw. That's a lie. We saw one during COVID.
Oh, we saw is Tenet,
Tenet. Yeah.
which is fine. Fun
It's
to
a
be in the
fun movie
theater.
to make fun of. Yeah.
Fun
It's
to be in
definitely a
the
movie
theater.
theater movie, though. It is a movie theater movie. That's.
Yeah, I mean that's what Christopher Nolan does. That's
Yeah.
why he quit his current contract with Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I mean, you can't hear what the actors are saying most of the time, but the action's freaking cool.
Yeah, his sound direction is horrible.
Horrible. And
I would
also,
not, if there was anybody I would not want to do a Marvel movie as him.
it's too confusing. It is too confusing. But I
I mean,
also
he could maybe
think,
do a cool Doctor Strange.
yeah, but his movies, you're supposed to, apparently, I read somewhere that you're supposed to watch his movies more than once to understand the story. So,
I believe that. I believe
yeah.
that.
So
I mean,
maybe should
people
we
love
try
Interstellar, but
I was gonna
no.
say, should we try that again? Because I know, but halfway through, you looked at me and you said this is very boring.
It was very boring, honestly. Like I don't know how people like
we watch
it.
a lot
I
of
like the
movies
music. The
together.
music is good. The soundtrack by Hans Zimmer is amazing.
Oh yeah, his music is always good. Maybe that's why he's like, oh, you don't need to hear what anyone's saying. Just enjoy the music. Maybe
Yeah.
his movies are literally just a way for Hans Zimmerman to showcase his art.
No, it could be.
If that's the case, I approve. No, but me and you watch way too many movies together. And this
Well, I
year
mean,
we have not
that's what
been
movies
able
are for.
to. Huh?
That's what they make them for.
But this year we haven't done anything.
I mean, we could have watched Wonder Woman,
Yeah, no.
and then I don't think there's any movie. All the movies got delayed. I mean, movie news. The 007 got delayed.
Yep.
Morbius with Jared Leto was delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. No one wants to see that.
No one wants to watch that one.
Uncharted movie. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you're more
Tom
of the video
Holland.
game. Yeah. Oh, and Tom Holland, yeah. I
Yeah.
know some of the story because you mentioned you playing Uncharted. So
I don't know. I mean, it seems like they're doing a prequel story because
Yeah.
young. Tom Holland's young.
yeah. So I
He's
think
also 20 something, so maybe he's not young.
he looks young, so he could pull it off. It's fine. Yeah, I think we've now strayed away from WandaVision. I think that's a good sign to potentially ending this week's podcast.
Yes. I'm done with WandaVision for now.
For now,
Excited for next week?
except for next week. Hopefully, we're not disappointed. Yeah.
No, I don't think we will.
No, so far so good. I think.
Okay. I think that's it for today.
All right.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Talk to you guys next week.